Okay. Right. Well, we are definitely hoping to hear from you all. Welcome back from the morning and the afternoon breakout sessions. Truly hope that you all had a good time and that honest dialogue was able to take place within those spaces. We hope that you all were able to learn and gain knowledge from our experts who are presenters. And we really truly hope that you all will be able to stay connected within this space. It's the afternoon. Thanks for being with us for a full day. We do not have many other segments of the conference left, but we have a good amount of fun activities before we head out today. Okay? So, so that I will not hold things up as folks trickle in, I want to be sure to let you all know that we will have a panel discussion from the creative artists that we've heard from today and that we will hear from today. So please stay tuned so that you can all hear our creative artists' stories, their journeys, and how being justice impacted has played a huge role in the work that they do to support folks who are also justice involved. I want to go ahead and introduce our second creative artist, PBG Kemo. PBG Kemo is a dynamic rock and roll rapper who has been making waves in the music industry for nearly a decade. Beyond his music career, he is dedicated to amplifying the voices of young people who are just as impacted and often unheard. Kemo drives change through his music and through his mentorship to young people. Please welcome Kemo, or PGB Kemo, to the stage.
This is really a song for my sons. You know, this is not the type of music I make, but, you know, this is like a change for me. Oh, yeah, shout out Brittany, too, and the CEO.
When I rap, this is just what I, like, this is how I live my life. Like, I just express myself through my music.
My eyes broke, man, they controlling me, this controlling me. Baby, do you wanna roll with me? Cause I can't go to sleep if I was in the sky. You still wouldn't be getting over me. Gotta stay on point. Lot of people that won't smoke with me. I've been off that money, man, trying to get that money, man. Scamming, rapping, it don't matter, I won't be no. I'm gon' keep my, cause I never see my sons again. Make them skip, do the run, man. Guns, them my safety, my gun got no safety. Baby, let me tell you something, you look mighty tasty. No, it ain't the pill talk, you know I'm coming crazy. I just love your vibe, keep your style, so come and save me.
Really just let her just, she just make my
I done lost a lot of people to them shells, now I'm shell shocked. Mama's crying, baby mama's hurting, they don't feel us. 12 wanna lock us up and wanna kill us. Took too many losses in the game, but I'm still black-hearted. And I'm black-hearted. Express myself when I record, cause I'm black-hearted. I'm gon' beg, can't take no more, cause I'm black-hearted. And I'm lonely, lost all of my homies. Lost myself when I lost us in noodles, that shit blows me. It's tough that block, did a whole 10, now he gone. See, it's sad that we was all together, now we don't be. I sacrificed my life, soul and body for this. My son asked me daddy when we can't go to some beaches. I can't take her nowhere in a rap because I'm beefing. But promise you that daddy finna make it, ain't no secret. I appreciate y'all.
All right, let's give it another hand for PGB Kemo. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. Like I said, later on within the program, you all will be able to hear a little bit more about the inspiration behind Kemo's songs, as well as artist number one, Anthony Spalding's play. You all will be able to do a deeper dive, and then we'll have another creative artist before we conclude. So I just want to give another thank you and round of applause to PGB Kemo. Thank you.
Hi, 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 hi. Hi, 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 hi. Everybody, I just want you to give yourselves a round of applause for being here. This is the 2025 Illinois Reentry Conference. It's a blessing and it's an honor to be here. It's a lot of work that's going to happen in this room, and it's a lot of work that has happened today, and it's a lot of work that's going to happen moving forward. I was just telling Brittany, she did so much and poured so much into this event. I was just explaining to her that this will be the standard for reentry in the state of Illinois. We need this space. We need this space so much. As a person who is justice impacted, we need this space so much to be able to come up with informed, creative, innovative solutions to address the concerns of the reentry population, because they don't just affect the people who are returning, they also affect the communities that they are returning to. My name is Vance White. I will be your moderator for this plenary panel. I am the executive director of the School of Opulence, and we are a queer POC-led organization on the southeast side of Chicago, and our mission is to improve the quality of service, quality of life, and life expectancy for LGBT persons of color who are HIV probable, HIV positive, housing insecure, food insecure, and afflicted by other social determinants of health. We have an acute focus on the Southeast Corridor, that is South Chicago, Greater Grand Crossing, South Shore, and Woodline. And we are here today because we also believe that LGBT returning citizens really need this space. That's our beautiful logo. We are a growing organization. We haven't been around for that long, but our legacy is over 20 years old, and we're going to continue to doing the work to include a holistic approach to the services that we provide. The first person I'd like to call up, which will be our first panelist of the afternoon, is Jeannette Webb, the Assistant Manager and Implementation of Research at CCHE. Jeannette, would you please join me? Jeannette is going to introduce herself before she takes the seat on the stage. Jeannette, if you'd like to say anything just about who you are, what you do, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Thank you. Testing. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I know it's after 2 something, and everybody's like, ooh, that lunch is getting on you. The cookies are free. Let's try it again. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
There we go. We have to address the issues of reentry and substance use and mental health and everything with that same energy and fervor. Don't give up the fight. Don't give up the networking. Don't give up the determination to try to come up with something creative and innovative. And don't always feel like you have to be the only one to create something, because there's somebody else that is already doing something, and collaboration is a powerful tool. If you look at the landscape, that's all I'm going to say. Collaboration is happening one way or another. So we need to be a part of our own collaboration to get and keep things going. Okay. I am Jeannette Webb from University of Chicago.
Thank you. And that is CCHE, the Chicago Center for HIV Elimination. They do amazing work. And thank you, Jeannette, for joining us. The next person, as I am waiting for the golden time of day, is Marlon Chamberlain, founder and executive director of the Illinois Coalition to End Permanent Punishments. Marlon, if you would just please introduce yourself how you'd like to.
Absolutely. Is this working? Can y'all hear me? So I would describe our work. I heard my colleague earlier today, Paul Rothschild, describe our work in this way. He talked about how a lot of direct service agencies are pulling babies out of the water. And the way he described our work is we're going up the stream to figure out why are so many babies in the water to address the root causes. And so I am the founder and executive director of the Illinois Coalition to End Permanent Punishments, where we aim to eliminate permanent punishments, formerly collateral consequences, but we decided to call them permanent punishments because collateral suggests that these laws were accidental. And what we've learned is that they were not. They were intentionally drafted to target people with arrest and conviction records. And so the goal for us is grassroots organizing and really developing leaders to have a seat at the table to address and eliminate these barriers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marlon. So this person is growing she's just like growing in my heart, in my space. She's Dr. Littrice. I just knew I couldn't do this panel without her. Dr. Littrice, could you come on up, please? Dr. Littrice is going to have no difficulty introducing herself.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. LaShawn Littrice. I am the founder and president of Make Noize for Change. I'm also a community psychologist as well as a social justice advocate. To describe a little of the work that we do, we believe in knocking doors down, we believe in disrupting systems, and we also believe in collaborating with other organizations so we can make a louder impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Littrice. And last but not least, Tony Lowery, the Director of Housing for Safer Foundation. Listen, if giants do exist, he is one in this space. Tony, will you please join us? Thank you.
Thank you. And again, honored to be here, honored to see all the people here supporting the initiative. I'm Tony Lowery, Safer Foundation. I've been doing this work for a long time. But the battle is still fresh. The work still needs to be done. The people who are returning are fighting for their lives. The only way that we can rebuild our communities is to get our men and women who've been dispatched back into the communities to rebuild families, so as a people we can move forward. So again, I was Director of Policy and Advocacy for about 10 or 12 years. And when I first saw Marlon, I just saw the energy, the light, the fire that was coming off him. And as LaShawn said, we had to kick doors down because nobody's gonna give us anything. The system has been set up to lock us up. The criminal record has been the proxy for racism for the last 50 years. So again, when we go into institutions, most of the people in there are our people. My nephew just came home 2 weeks ago after serving 25 years. Just the impact on my family. And my family has 3 generations of incarceration. My father, myself, my nephew. But this is the typical story in our community. So again, I'm just a servant to do anything I can to fight for justice and opportunity for our people. So glad to be here, honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Look at my panel. We know what we're talking about. Thank you so much. You guys have been amazing too. They are so accommodating. I just want to say that my panelists here, like I said, they're experts and they are amazing people and they're doing great work. The title for this panel discussion is Addressing Resource Deficiencies Impacting Returning Citizens and How They Decrease Physical, Mental, and Financial Health for Our Communities. As people re-enter, those things don't just affect the re-entry community. They affect the communities that we and they return to. And that's why it requires an all-in approach to dealing with these issues. Just a brief overview, the Illinois Reentry Conference, hosted by Public Health Institute of Metropolitan Chicago, aims to address critical challenges faced by returning citizens, individuals reintegrating into our communities after incarceration. This panel discussion will delve into insufficient resources for these individuals, not only hinder their successful integration, but also adversely affects the overall physical, mental, and financial health of our communities. So the first thing that we'll do, we'll just kind of like talk about some just objectives. What my panelists, I would like for us to do is we want to identify health resource deficiencies, examine community health impact, propose health solutions. Those are 3 of the objectives that we'd like to do. I'm just going to jump straight into it. And I'm just going to jump straight into our first question for the panelists. What are the most critical resource deficiencies currently faced by returning citizens, and how do these gaps manifest in their day-to-day lives? Oh yeah, it's just brimming with excitement.
I'll start it off. One of the things that is deficient is consistency in services, because it is a treacherous slope to have an agency and to be connected with it and 1 minute the staff is there and then that staff is gone and then you have to repeat yourself all over again. That's traumatic to a person if they have to repeat their story over and over again and if they're not being handled well. And then also the whole system for returning back. Housing is so difficult. When you get out and you stayed someplace and now because of the felony charge you have, you can't go back to that area, what do they think is gonna happen? What do they think, where do they think that you're gonna go? So now you're not supposed to be around certain individuals that have backgrounds and stuff. This was your support system that helped you before you got in and helped you make it alive out of there. What do they think is going to happen? So it has to be something that targets that a lot better in order to create sustainability for them.
Yes. Thank you, Jeannette.
I would speak from a policy perspective. So across the country, there are 44,000 permanent punishments or collateral consequences. Specifically related to Illinois, there are over 1,000. And the reason why we know this is because we did a research project scrubbing every statute in Illinois to identify statutes that create these permanent punishments. And they vary. It's not just employment and housing. A few years ago, my father passed away, appointed me the executor over his estate, and I found out that anyone with a felony conviction couldn't act as an executor. We introduced a bill to remove that barrier, but there are many more. There are also statutes that say we can't be on the premises of a bingo game. We can't own a falconry bird. There are certain dogs we can't own. So there's over 1,000 barriers that people have to navigate once they get out, which creates a barrier for folks trying to reintegrate back into community.
Yeah, and barriers in healthcare do exist, and they exist greatly in the communities in underserved, disinvested, underinvested, often unseen, often unheard communities. So to speak towards that and to fortify you, Brother Marlon.
Some of the deficiencies that I have recognized are related to housing, employment, but the health and the mental health aspects are the greater, and it starts when people are still on the inside. So by the time they transition out, if they have never addressed health issues because that system inside doesn't address it, when they come out, they have a harder time trying to address those issues. And I can take myself for an example. Coming home from federal prison, I was not allowed to go to the doctor. And I had a set time, and I was very ill. And I had a set time that I had to wait. It was almost a 6-month period. In that 6 months, if I would have gone to the doctor for anything that wasn't life or death, I would have been put back into custody, basically.
You were taken back into custody.
And so I basically had to fight an illness without seeing a medical professional. I didn't get the proper treatment on the inside, and then it segued to outside. So that's one of the major barriers that I fight for, that and mental health. Those are two main things.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, guys. The work I'm doing now is primarily housing. And again, housing is a critical element. The discrimination, the stigma that our people face with trying to obtain housing. Credit, no credit score, no work history. And again, what I try and tell our team, because we have various funding sources where we can provide support, but it's just a drop in the bucket of what the need is. There's a lot of legislative work going on to try and increase the amount of money that the state provides, that we can provide rental assistance, housing supports for people who are coming home. Because if you don't have a place to lay your head, don't nothing else make sense. So what we try and do as SAFER, and we've been doing this for 53 years now, is that we try to do a holistic approach, what we call the SAFER Reentry Network Collaborative, where we collaborate with mental health organizations, physical health organizations, making sure that a person has everything they need to walk out the door. Also, we receive funding from SAMHSA to do substance abuse, supportive work. Anything that we can do, because again, my mission is to try and educate my community on what the resources are. Housing, I've been able to get master leases with organizations who wouldn't touch us at first, because again, the fear, and especially living in Chicago, just cut the 10 o'clock news on. 12-year-old carjacking, 13-year-old. The fear that radiates throughout our city is unprecedented. When I'm gonna lease to a person who I know has a record, who is he gonna bring with him? These are fears that people have, so we've been able to negate that. Personally, I've been a Section 8 landlord for like 20 years, so I've been able to landlord talk to the property management companies. So now I can get a property management company to have a unit waiting for that person. But again, on our side, we got to make sure that we're sending somebody who's going to kick the door down and keep it open. Because again, one bad apple will be, well, I tried, So again, it's a combination of getting the person to understand what their responsibility is. And again, you have to look at the trauma. Incarceration is not Club Med. So again, the trauma that a person goes through. Now you're coming back on the street. I just said previously, my nephew had came home and he was kind of shell-shocked. I was talking to him. My daughter came from Tennessee to pick him up in Menard. He went in at 17, 25 years. Finally got out, did the education. We paid for the education, everything we could to make him parole eligible. He did his own successive post-conviction. The original sentence was 75 years. Killed my sister. 5 years later, she was dead. So just the impact on family, the impact of incarceration on our communities. And again, as I think Marlon said, it's no accident. This is by design. See, I'm older than most, but I remember 1969, and J. Edgar Hoover said the biggest threat on the American way of life is the Black Panther Party. Not the Russians, not China. Brothers who were educated standing up with the right to bear arms was the biggest threat to the American way of life. So again, the challenge we face, and we talk about that seamless transition from institution to community, which is critical. When I go into prison, I talk to guys, get a plan from day one. Hit them streets, you're in a fight for your life. Believe me, they're not gonna say, I'm sorry. The doors to the penitentiary are always open, and we'll keep the light on. So again, the most important work, housing, stability, and we've been able to expand our housing from 10 units to now I think we have like 170 units of various housing, permanent transitional, and things like that. And that's just a drop in the bucket. Because again, we have to sail, we have to navigate to try and get people in place. And once just the tears of mothers being able to get their children back because now they have housing is sometimes overwhelming. So again, it's the biggest challenge with the experts here, and right now my focus has been on housing. I know the policy is in good hands with Marlon.
Yeah, I want to add to that also, to fortify all of these points. When we think about the systemic racial structure of the system, it was a system not meant for, people of color to operate within. It wasn't a system meant for us to win in, right? So, working with the cards that we have, as a person who has experienced, when I got out of federal prison, I served 7 years in federal prison. When I came home, I was homeless. I slept on my auntie's floor in her living room, and it was an apartment packed with other adults, right? And what happens is, I often say this when we talk about, when I speak towards reentry for LGBT persons, because we absolutely have no real estate or equity in the reentry space, right? When I speak towards that, we have to be intentional about providing resources, right? Because each issue leads and has an effect on other overall issues of our community. So thank you guys for those perspectives. I'd like to explore how these deficiencies contribute to broader societal issues, right? Including increased rates of recidivism, poverty, and health disparities. So not particularly from the perspective of the returning citizen, but how do these disparities affect the communities that they return to? I can tell you, returning citizens without equitable access to quality health care, it automatically heightens the risk of HIV transmission for LGBT returning citizens. Sex work is a real thing. Coming out of prison, when you are not stable and when your life needs are not secure, sex work is one of the first options for my community, right? And because of that, it puts everybody at risk. Sex is so fluid these days, right? So it puts everyone at risk. This is a subject that we all need to put our hands in to make sure that we're doing what we can to solve at every different level. We need from the government down to grassroots. So just to prime that for you guys.
I think one of the things is, I put in air quotes, abuse of the use of the system in order to survive is one of the disparities, or one of the things that can kind of clog up the system, if you will. I think about individuals who at Cook County Jail who will yell out in a minute, "I need a psych eval." And they're doing that not necessarily because they may have some mental health challenge, but they see that as a way to get somebody to pay attention to them and to get somebody to listen to them.
Hunger strike.
Or a hunger strike or something like that. So now something is being added into their chart that's going to be presented to a judge that says, now you have whatever diagnosis, because they have faked that role in order to be heard and seen and protected while in the jail. And now when they get out, they have to navigate all past everything that they built up to protect themselves in there in order to be able to try to survive on the outside. And I think if it was a better system that protected them or gave them a voice, that they did not have to abuse the system to be heard, that they could get that kind of service to make it easy to transition to the outside.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say as well, I think if we use Chicago as an example, there are about maybe 8 to 10 communities that the majority of folks coming out of IDOC return to. And these are also communities that historically have lacked investment. And so folks come home, they go back to these communities where there's a scarcity of resources, which almost in a way forces you to go back to what you know. I just thinking about myself, I've been incarcerated 4 times, and not once did anybody ask me why. Like, why do you keep going back to hustling? And I think when folks come out, folks have good intentions on doing right, but then reality sets in. And then those old friends from the neighborhood who never stopped are like, hey, I got an opportunity for you. You can do it one time and stop. But then folks begin to look and say, hey, you know what? Like, I would rather try this to feed my family than continue being rejected and told no. So I think it's almost like the environment is set up for you to go back, because there are no welcoming mats or floors laid out for you in terms of resources. You go back to communities that historically have just been left out in terms of investment.
And to add context to that, thank you, Marlon. To add context to that, let's look at what Marlon just said. I can think of one example. The government incarcerates people for whatever reason, right? The government incarcerates people, but when we return to society, they rely on community-based organizations to then deal with the issues, right? Without giving us the appropriate and the necessary resources to be able to address the concerns that this reentry population is facing. So that's just how the system works. I know this recidivism trap, releasing people to communities when we know what change is. Change your people, your places, your things that you do. We know that that's the ingredients for change, but they release us to these same places with no new tools, no new resources, and we're tasked to then, under different circumstances, more difficult circumstances with the weight of our backgrounds, to get jobs and those things like that, which is almost, it's the odds are not in our favor. Okay.
Absolutely, and to piggyback off of what both of you all just said, I think the communities are falling short of providing resources, and it creates further disparities when people reintegrate into society and they do not have the proper things in the community itself. Then that community is not going to actually, that community is not going to revive itself. It's actually going to go the other direction. And I like to use the example of family structures. When family structures are distorted, that takes away from the value of the community, that takes away from the morale. When we think about the mental health facilities that have been closed over the years, there's a big gap in the need of treating mental health issues. And there's a stigma attached to that. So when people come home and they suffer from PTSD or post-incarceration syndrome, any of those things that are going to impact how they integrate into that community, it's a stigma attached to it, so people don't necessarily want to address those things. And then with the entities like the government, the administration, closing down facilities because they don't want to address those issues, they cannot even ask the question why things are reverting into the opposite direction. So you have crime being increased because people, when they don't know how to deal with certain issues, crime is often impacted, and that affects the community as well.
Yes. And to Dr. Littrice's point, they invest more in the incarceration than in their rehabilitation. So it may cost $80,000 to house an inmate for a year, but when we come home, we can't find any type of resources, right? So the investment is different.
Yeah, mental health is real, and people coming home need the support. They may not need the clinical psychologist, it may just be the social worker. But someone to be able to listen, to hear that journey, for them to understand what led to that journey is critically important. Had a young man who has spent 32 years in IDLC, 12 years in solitary. So 12 years in solitary out of 32-year bid, went in at 18, comes out. So at that time, we had gotten dollars to be able to pay rental assistance. He was staying in a house, and so when I first talked to him and he told me his story, I'm like, okay, hold it, wait, yeah. Go get an appointment with a therapist, okay? When you get the appointment confirmed, come back to me and I'll give you these gift cards, okay? So he did. But he was a young man, we put him in the community, and most people who are incarcerated are coming from poverty, okay? They're not coming from Wall Street. They're not coming from the Gold Coast. They're coming from poverty, okay? Poverty-related crimes lead to incarceration. And as Marlon said, coming back into poverty. So a lot of situations, when I would go into prison, I was asked how many guys did 4 bids? How many 5, 6, 7, 8? I had a guy who did 9 bids, never completed parole. I was able to work with him, get him some housing. He had 4 children, so he was able to stand up and be a father again. But mental health support is critical. I'm glad the mayor is trying to open up some of the centers, but if you're working with anybody who's returning from prison, just talk about that. Just kind of plant a seed as far as what the need is. And that's critically important because, again, if mental health is not right, the job is not going to work. It's going to be an episode at the housing. It's going to be a situation that will potentially lead to that person going back into custody. So again, if providers, anything that we're doing and we're in communication with people who are recently released, just have a conversation about mental health. How do they feel about it? You don't have to thrust it on them because, as LaShawn said, just with our men, the stigma is real. You know, why you think something wrong with me? Just try and get them to get that support, the holistic support that they need to stay free.
Yeah. Thank you guys for that. And I know that we are supposed to stop at 3:15, but we can't fix the entire system in 40 minutes, right? I'm sure that we could if we worked together and we collaborated, because collaborating is important. No, but I do want to say, so I want to ask one last question, and then we're going to open it up for a Q&A, correct, Brittany? We're going to... Okay, so I'm going to ask one... Okay. Okay. So I'll ask a couple questions, but really fast questions, if we can just kind of like respond 30 seconds, because we're all long-winded. I'll talk forever. Jeannette, would you please tell us what JRISE is and how JRISE is attributing to helping to address the concerns for returning citizens from the work you're doing at CCHE?
Thank you. 30 seconds. JRISE, this is a status-neutral study that is looking to provide economic support and also medication and medical support for those who have been impacted by the criminal justice system. It is using an approach of a health navigator, an employment navigator, and an employment outreach specialist in order to navigate the waters to find places of employment and have a partner to help them navigate the waters of health journey, goals, connecting with a doctor, getting the documents, and then also what it takes to re-enter in terms of employment needs. And this is a 5-year study that is being done at UChicago with the Chicago Center for HIV Elimination.
Thank you. And I'm a proud CAB member. So thank you guys for that at CCHE. We need that. Marlon, in 30 seconds, I have to say that again. In 30 seconds, can you tell us some examples of some successful initiatives in our communities that you see from other organizations that are doing reentry work that we need to invest in, amplify, collaborate with to enforce them and sustain them?
Yeah, the organization I would use is Homeboy Industries out of California. Not only do they do direct service, but they also do some entrepreneurship work where they teach people how to start their own businesses, and they also do advocacy work. So that's an organization that I would name that we could definitely learn from.
Okay, thank you. So that means that anybody, the note takers, that organization, we need to put that out there again somehow. We'll figure that out in 30 seconds. Dr. Littrice, as a psychologist, what psychological impacts do you observe in returning citizens who lack sufficient support systems, and how can we address these challenges?
The psychological impacts that I've noticed and that I've experienced are PTSD, post-incarceration syndrome, family integration, trying to navigate back into the family structure. Oftentimes, we find ourselves explaining to people that it's okay to talk to someone about how they're feeling, but the good thing that I like is I've always run into people who say, I need someone to talk to. Mm-hmm. And we don't make anybody feel bad. We just let them know that it's better to talk about how you're feeling because your adjustment is not going to be the same as the next person. So we understand that and we just work with them. Okay, thank you. And the OG, Mr. Lowery. You can take as much time as you like. So my question to you is, what collaborative strategies involving community organizations, government, and health institutions could effectively bridge the resource gaps for returning citizens?
The biggest need is money from federal affairs now. We don't know about that. But state government, legislatively, the work that Marlon and them are doing in Springfield to justify the need or demonstrate the need, not justify because we are human beings. Rehabilitation is not a made-up word. Testimony I gave in Washington, I had to challenge Congress people. So you mean that I'm never supposed to work again? I'm not supposed to have anything ever? Come on, something's wrong with that picture. So again, same thing in Springfield. When you look at the 103 counties in the state of Illinois, most of those counties are in the middle southern Illinois. Most of the people in the state legislature are former prosecutors. So tough on crime. Not smart on crime, tough on it. Tough as I can. The easiest crime to be tough on is people who are on the registry. You can't go here, you can't live here, you can't do that. So again, what we do, I've identified people who are on the registry who needed rental assistance. Here, I got you. Let me hit you with 3 months. To make sure that people have an even chance to live a life. But the policies, as Marlon said, are already documented or put in place to restrict, to discriminate. So again, hopefully everybody has a voter registration card, look up your state rep, give them a call, ask them, what are they doing to help people returning from prison? See. If they get if most of you are in one district and they get more than 10 calls, one rep, they found out I ain't doing nothing. So again, call your state rep and tell them to make a difference.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. It looks like the room is bubbling with questions. Yes. Okay. 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 Is there any questions in the audience? Virtual questions we will take also. Oh, we answered everybody's questions. Okay. Okay, ma'am. She's coming with a microphone. How do we?
Can you all hear me back there?
Brittany.
And how are you all this evening? This evening. I'm from Holistic Alliance, where this work that this phenomenal panel is.
Where am I gonna read the question at?
It has been amazing. I'm going to say this, that it takes a very profound person, a group of people to get up and speak of their background and their history in such a magnificent way. Can we just give them a hand?
Thank you.
At Holistic Alliance, we serve a population of reentry clients where we actually got our first look at, where you at, Dave? Dave Thomas? He's right back there. Dave Thomas, we were introduced to a reentry program, one of the first programs that our organization was actually acquainted with. And just doing the work and having Mr. Richard Rowe, I don't know if anybody knows, but Richard Rowe works with the IDOC, the reentry program for the state of Illinois. But being able to hear what you all have to say about managing our clients, the one thing, and I know that OG can answer this question, but the one thing that we've realized in taking care of our 50 men that are, and women, LGBT, and everybody that comes out that needs our support, we found that true rapport and a trusting relationship with our clients made the best difference. And then the next, number two, was being able to identify and collaborate and communicate with administrators and people that were higher above that maybe didn't know exactly what the work was, but they didn't have the 10 toes down, but we did. So thank you all so much for being able to share your stories, because a lot of times we can't relate. I can't relate. I've never been incarcerated, so I can't relate. But hearing your stories and being able to get that type of connectivity with our clients makes the difference. So thank you so much. And whatever you all say we should be doing, guess what, y'all? We should be doing.
Yes.
Yes.
Please listen to her. Whatever we say.
Let me say something right quick.
Coach,
I think, in just piggybacking on you, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Mm-hmm. So again, just the compassion, just the understanding, just the listening goes a long way.
Next year we'll be streaming live on Facebook. We're gonna definitely pull quotes. Next year, Carrie, I'm challenging us. Okay, no, I'm just joking. Any more questions? I see a question, right? Okay, we got two questions. 1, 2, and then.
Mine's quick. It's not so much of a question, but it's more, greetings to everybody. That as direct service providers, we're in this fight together. You know, we got to remember we're not against each other. We're in this fight together. Personally, I never got a chance to meet the OG. But he helped,
I'm sorry.
He helped our organization Challenge to Change cross the finish line with the Housing Development Authority grant. That 4 months in, I still couldn't get through being a grassroots organization, and without his help that I couldn't get anywhere else. We now have a beautiful building that provides reentry housing or temporary supportive housing. Yes. And we are round 2 recipients, purchasing 3 properties now, and we couldn't have done it without the collaboration of the Illinois Reentry Council, ILJP, and our immediate supporters, GOD, Giving Other Dreams, the Illinois Coalition to End Permanent Punishments, Life Impactors Foundation, our partners. So again, we're in this together, and together we win.
Okay, we have one last question. Thank you so much. We have one last question from the gentleman.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Charles DeCurie, Senior Field Manager for Metropolitan Peace Initiative Reentry Project, better known as Empire. I want to know what was being done to address connecting with companies and employers to sell them on hiring just to impact the people. And these are the people in the best shape of their lives. They're on a structured environment already, getting up early in the morning, They have to go to work, they have work assignments, and they have transferable skills that they've already acquired being in an IDOC or a federal prison, having to get up and do a work assignment. What are we doing? The intentionality of the perks of, they get like $9,800 per just to impact the person that they hire tax credit, or being federally bonded. What are we doing to educate these employers to try to hire this population? And what are we doing to show the connection between returning citizens and how this affects public safety in our communities?
I know who I think that question go to.
Well, we've been doing it for 50 years, and it's a challenge. But again, like my nephew just came home 25 years. Okay, now he's in our solar training program to get the solar jobs, manufacturing, healthcare. I think I'm pretty sure Marlon, when we pushed for the increase in healthcare waivers, but also a big part of the legislation that year was the ceiling expansion, but also people who were in health-related fields who had a conviction could get reinstated. See, so again, whatever, if it's healthcare, if it's construction, manufacturing, or whatever, and I usually give everybody my personal cell number, I'm always available. So again, if you got people who want to work, have them call me so I can send our people their name to make sure that they don't fall through the cracks. Because again, my commitment is my commitment. We have people on the team who may not have my commitment. That's why I make sure that if I'm handing somebody off, I'm following up and they know I'm gonna chase them. So again, just to make sure that the work, because again, we got people fighting for their lives, man. This ain't no joke. I just thank God that I had the opportunity, I had the education. My last lockup, the lady asked, she said, what's your highest level of education? I said, college degree. She said, what are you doing here? I had never thought about that, because I'm just on a mission. I'm gone. But luckily, even with that, I had challenges. When I lost the job, I directed the drug program at Chicago Housing Authority. 75 employees under me, lost that job. I had to take a job at $40,000 less. See, so again, the challenges that our people face, we don't want to be insurmountable. But again, I'll give you my number. If you got people who you committed, ready to work, I can put them in the pipeline and we'll see where it goes. Because again, I know they fighting for their lives.
Yeah.
Right. Hey,
And I
got you.
identify with you on that. So as we're coming to the end of this, thank you. Can we give a round of applause to my panel? Thank you. Thank you guys so much. And can we give a louder round of applause to me? No, I'm just joking. No, I'm just joking. No, I'm just joking. No, so I just want to say two things. I want to say two things as we end. The first thing I want to say is we are not, people of color are not the reentry population. We are just the largest part of it, right? I want to say that when you solve for the black people, you solve for everybody. We say that all the time in HIV care and prevention. If you solve for black, you solve for everybody, right? I want to say also with that we are tasked as black people. We have to start to, from our families, from our communities, we have to start, because we understand the system, we have to start what it looks like to help our people achieve self-rehabilitation, right? That's a real thing. The Supreme Court acknowledged self-rehabilitation, right? Additionally, the last thing I want to say as we close out this panel, Neo said it in the song, I'm a movement by myself, but we're a force when we're together, right? And I think I just want to leave on that note. We'll always go, if they say, I don't want to keep saying what other people said, I want to create my own stuff, but they say, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, you go with others. So I just want to say thank you guys, thank you panel. Thank you guys for being here. This is an amazing conference. And with that, can you cue us out? With that, I think that we are on time. Thank you guys so much. One more time. Thank you. Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you. I hope that we did. Thank you. I have to connect with all of y'all. Thank you. They think it's over.
Yeah. We would like to regroup. Hello, everyone. We're going to go ahead and do a 5-minute break. If you all need to take a break, we're going to do 5 minutes. We're going to come back into this space for closing remarks, and then we will conclude the conference, okay? 5-minute breaks back in the space for closing remarks. Thank you.
That was lovely.
Oh.
Okay. Hello. Hello, everybody. Hello, please take your seats. The program will resume shortly. Please take your seats. The program will resume shortly.
We're going to go ahead and get back started, okay? All right, for those of you all who are in the space, we're going to go ahead and get settled. We have about 30 more minutes, 45 more minutes, okay? And then the conference will conclude, but we want to be sure to introduce our third creative artist. So we want to make sure that folks settle so that we can do that. Let you guys take your time to settle while we do that. It's been a long day, so thank you all so much for bearing with us and staying with us. Okay? For anyone who's in the lobby that wants to come back into the main stage, we want to go ahead and usher them back into the main stage area. All right, so I want to go ahead and get started on our third creative artist. Our third creative artist is Derek Lloyd. Derek Lloyd's story just reaches and touches and can resonate with so many people, but he also has a unique story, a unique journey as someone who is a family member of someone who's just as impacted. So again, this conference is obviously to support folks who are just as involved, just as impacted, but we don't want to leave their supporters out. We don't want to leave their family members out. And so this piece that Derek Lloyd will perform for us is a storytelling piece, okay? And the storytelling piece is called The Reunion. So I want to make sure that Derek can share his talents with you all and his journey with you all through his storytelling. So without further ado, please welcome Derek Lloyd to the stage. Thanks.
Good afternoon. Oh, wait. Good afternoon. That's better. Thank you for allowing me to be here. In the fall of 1989, me and my mom moved in with my grandfather, Edward Brown, my cousin, DeAndre Brown, and my auntie, Pamela Brown. You see, this is exactly what we needed coming off of a very, very rough divorce. Me, at the ripe age of 8, I was excited. I can remember my grandfather sitting on his lap as he would cut apples. My auntie would show me how to hold the cards to try to play spades. I still run a Boston on you. But my mom, she really wanted to get out. She pleaded with friends, family, because coming up in Gary, Indiana, we lived on a very rough side of town. But the family was love. My auntie was bigger than life, the youngest of 7 siblings. She never met a stranger. But after some time, my mom was able to get a hold of somebody. An old friend allowed us to move into their apartment. In 1990, March, we moved out. So, you know how you move out sometimes, you leave stuff behind. So, on April 10th, me and my mom went back to the house to try to get some supplies that we had left there. But this morning, it was different. When we went to the place that I normally would play out in front of the yard, it was an accordion gate that closed over the door, and there was a bolt on it. And me and my mom were sitting there like, what's going on? This place we came hundreds of times. Why is the door locked? That exact moment, my auntie was in a shootout with police. They pulled her over for conducting a U-turn. The officer got shot. Pam got shot in the hand. Thank God the officer survived. So they apprehended Pam. They met us at the house. The scene that unfolded was unimaginable. Edward Brown Jr., 63 years old. DeAndre Brown, 11 years old, wounded multiple times. My auntie has killed my grandfather and my cousin. I can remember that day, my mom trying to keep it together. And I remember it was just so much stuff going on. I went to the babysitter's house. And at the babysitter's house, I was crawled up in a ball, starting these agonizing migraines. And I remember on a couch, balled up, looking at the TV screen, and I see my family on ABC 7 News. I see my house that I play in front of on Channel News. And at that moment, I started having these agonizing migraines. But I'll tell you something. The great poet Maya Angelou said, you may not be able to control your environment, but you don't have to be reduced by it. And my mom is a saint. I tell you, moms show unconditional love. She was able to dive deep inside her soul to find a saint level of forgiveness. And so, she told me one day, years later, we're going to go see Pam. Nobody has seen Pam in a decade. My mom had started a letter writing campaign to rehabilitate her sister and decided to go see her. And as being a good mama's boy, I decided to go there. And as I and my mom and my uncle, it was only 3 other family members that went. Nobody had seen Pam. We went to the prison, we were kind of like VIPs, because the prison knew too. Nobody had came to see Pam. We were like VIP, we still got patted down though, we got patted down. But I can remember that day when I walked in, it was like a picnic. And I saw Pam and she had on a brown outfit, her eyes shot through my soul. She said, I want to talk to Derek. I was a little boy in the tragedy. She told me that I'm so sorry about the stain on the family. She said that I was on drugs, I had a black cloud come over me. And I said, looking down, looking up, I said, if me and my mom would have been there, would you have killed us too? And I started to well up. She looked down and she said, probably. At that exact moment, I looked inside myself. I was wanting to hold on to the hate, the pain, the trauma of the past, but chose to go into the forgiveness of the present. And at that moment, 2 things happened. 1, I gave my auntie a big hug. She became my beloved Aunt Pam from that moment. And 2, never had a migraine again. We continued to go see Pam annually, starting with 5 family members, ending with 30. Sadly, Pam passed away in 2016. We had a beautiful memorial for her. But this is where our power lies. Everybody talks about wanting to be an Avenger. Thor with his mighty hammer, Iron Man with his technology suit, Black Panther with this ancestral power. But we possess the greatest power known to man, forgiveness. Forgiveness is the strongest contributing factor to the healing of the world. And I don't know about you, the world could use a bit more healing right now. And when I say forgiveness, I mean forgiveness for yourself. Every time you felt stupid, every time you failed for the wrong person in a relationship, forgive yourself. Because forgiveness is letting a prisoner free and learning that the prisoner was you. My name is Derek Lloyd, always in search of wisdom, knowledge, and righteousness. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you so much, Derek. Derek, you can actually stay on the stage. Another warm welcome or round of applause for Derek. All right, so this is a time where, like I said, a lot of these, not even a lot, every last artist that we have has a unique story. And so we would hate for you all to hear a little highlight or a snippet of their story and really not be able to dive in kind of and learn about their journey. So we will have a 10-minute panel discussion where I will ask the panelists a couple of questions, just kind of diving kind of deep into their performances and their artistic expressions. And then we'll leave it open for folks who can go into the conference app and leave questions. Okay, please, we're encouraging folks to go into the conference app and leave questions. We want to be able to do this to create equity around how we ask questions because we have a virtual audience as well. Okay, so we're encouraging virtual attendees and in-person attendees to go ahead and plug your questions for the panelists that you will have into the conference app. All right. Well, I want to go ahead and get us started. I want to go ahead and bring our first artistic expression artist to the stage, Anthony Spalding. Y'all can come this way. All right. And a round of applause for our second artistic expression artist, PBG Kemo. And certainly last but not least, Derek Lloyd. So first of all, I want to just say on behalf of PHIMC, thank you all so very much. It was an extremely competitive process to be on this stage as artists for this conference. And then it's also not always easy to share such intimate things about your journey. So I just want to say thank you all. And you all have extremely unique stories. And so let's go ahead and get started and dive on in. This question is for anyone on the panel who would like to respond. Okay, it could be for all three as well. But healing is a journey. Do you feel as though you've been able to creatively express yourself, or I'm sorry, healing is a journey. Do you think that being able to creatively express yourself helps you in the healing journey post-incarceration?
Specifically for me, yes, absolutely. My artistry is about plays and performance, as far as poetry, rap, song, all that. So, but the message. So it's setting up to where when guys come home, they have an opportunity to get their license. You only got one scene of my play, but it's setting up to where it's actually guys that are able to get their license. Whereas when I first came home, they put me through everything and tried to keep me from getting my barber license. So it's healed me in that, in the fact that I'm able to provide for myself and help some people in my family and the community also. So, yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else want to expound on that question?
Well, I'm not formally incarcerated, but storytelling is a way of making a message out of your mess. And it really helps you. It's a therapeutic process. My notion is that the goal is to try to help people overcome trauma. In my life, I've experienced a lot of trauma, and with that, I've been able to identify steps to overcome, steps to achieve, and try to, find what that greatness is for me. And one of the things that helped me was that storytelling piece.
I just feel like my music is really just like things that save me. So, I guess healing could be a way of being saved. So, and I did 4 years in the federal penitentiary. And I've been home for 7 months. So I feel like every time I come home, it's always an opportunity for some music to shake me back into reality. Like you don't got to do what you used to doing, So.
Well, welcome home.
Thank you.
All right, our next question for the panelists. Anyone can respond, feel free to. At what point in your life did you turn art to support with processing your experiences? Was there an aha moment, or has this just been something that you've always done since you were younger? At what moment did you decide to allow art to guide your way into healing?
I just want to say when I hit 1 million views by myself on YouTube, so that just made me like, oh yeah, you need to rap. What you doing? So.
For me, you would imagine potentially that I speak a lot, but I didn't know that I could speak. It wasn't until I really started to dive into the trauma and started to peel back that onion that I saw something that was always standing me in front of my face, but never realized it. So that diving deep inside yourself helps you uncover things about yourself that you never know, and that was what helped me.
And I just look at the message, all the things you learn and develop, especially the brothers and sisters that know about being incarcerated. You take those things and you implement them into your art, so it has a message, and people are able to resonate more with the message and your artwork when you talking about things that's relatable to them. You know, a lot of us come from the hood, so we know what goes on in the hood. But after we've come to ourselves, we had that aha moment. Now it's time to talk about the next process, the next step. So I love doing that in my art.
Thank you. So I want to go ahead and dive into some individual questions because, again, you all have very different stories. And so if it's okay, Rakeem, if we could, or PBG Kemo. Well, you don't have to be.
That's cool.
If it's okay, if you could share with us how your background and just your life experiences help you to create the songs that we heard today.
I don't know, just to summarize it. I was born in New Orleans. We moved before Katrina. We moved to the north side of Chicago. Raised by a single mother. Been down a tough path in my life. Getting it together for the better. I got 2 sons, 2 little boys. So it's just like, I'm not really rapping for me no more. I started rapping for me, but I'm not doing it no more because, you know, my boys, they look up to me. Things are different now, so I don't really want my children to look at me how I used to look as a child, you know, as a teenager, you know, so I just be trying to, I don't know, just be a better version of me for my kids. I feel like that's more important than anything else. I don't really care about nothing else. Of course, I have my flaws. We all do. But, you know, I really just be thinking of my kids when it comes to my music, so.
It's nice to know that they're, you know, the foundation of your inspiration for your music. I want to go ahead and have this next question go to Anthony Spalding. Anthony, you mentioned during your excerpt of your play that you had been given natural life. You were sentenced natural life without the possibility of parole. Can you share, if at all, and how art played a role in your healing journey while you were incarcerated, not knowing that you'd ever be out? And then post-incarceration as well, if you can expound on that.
Absolutely. I was sentenced to natural life as a juvenile. People that know about the Miller decision, it was a blessing for sure. And I deserved the time when I was convicted of it because I was guilty of the crimes I committed. So out there in the streets, wilding, gang banging, all that stuff. And I'm glad people see me and they don't get the same energy from me today through my spiritual transformation. But the difference between that, doing that artwork in the street and coming home is that I had Dr. Burroughs. Anybody know Dr. Burroughs is the founder of the Sabo Museum. She ran a creative writing class in there. And she would have us get up and do poetry and whatever art form we would do. So getting up there every week, every Tuesday she would come. And she would just tell me, you got something. You ever get a chance to get out, I want you to do this, that, and the third. So I made a promise to her. I made a promise to my mom, rest in peace, and all of my family members that if I ever got a chance, an opportunity, that I was going to come home and I was going to chase it. Like, you know, I wasn't going to accept no for an answer. And that's what I've been doing, man. I've had some amazing opportunities performing around the city for the last almost 3 years since I've been home. And I'm just blessed, so I'm just going to keep grinding.
Amen.
Book with me. You know?
Plug. Okay, well, thank you for that. And Derek, you kind of hinted on this question that I'm going to ask, but I would wonder if you could possibly expound a little bit more on it. You talk about just being a family member of someone who's just as impacted, and how, you know, the act that was committed by your family member really just had an impact on you and your family. You spoke a little bit about being able to find your voice through it all. Can you share a little bit more about that, right? Like when that happened, what space were you in? How long did it take you to be able to find your voice through storytelling? And has that kind of led any advocacy work for you?
Yeah, that's a really great question. But for me, it was a very long journey, to be honest with you. It was a journey that I had to come to a point in my life to understand and accept that I live in an imperfect world that demands perfection, and that I can forgive myself through all of the failures that I have. With that, I mean, you're talking about well into mid-20s. I always say, you know, you spend your 30s fixing things you broke in your 20s, and that's kind of what I did. But through that process, I had a praying mom, and you know, I had a community. I had, you know, just wearing different aspects of support that might have had some pros and cons, to be honest with you. But I was able to identify what I wanted in my life, and kind of had a crazy thought that I might be able to achieve it. And with that, I, you know, worked and got my degree, and started working in healthcare, and managed myself up to, you know, working at some of the more prestigious places in healthcare, working overseas, internationally at Doha, Qatar, the International Hospital. So, you know, I really want to help people to get to that point where they can achieve their dreams, coming from some hardships and situations like I came from in the past. So it's a process, but anything is hard by the yard, but it's a cinch inch by inch. So I took it inch by inch and was able to kind of be proud of who I made myself to be.
Thank you. This next question is for PBG Kemo, but I do want to open it up, because really the foundation of this next question is about transformation, right? And that's one of the reasons why we're here. You know, no one has to be who they were even yesterday. And transformation is a real thing, and it certainly happens within the reentry space and with folks who are just as impacted. So my next question for PBG Kemo is, the name of your album is Reinvented Rockstar. Can you share how you came up with that title? That's my first question. And what does Reinvented Rockstar mean?
I came up with it because, I mean, all my people, my fans, they all call me a rock star. So I be kind of cling on to the rock star look, the different type of look. You know, everybody look the same in Chicago that's doing it, so I'm trying to switch it up. And I understand the music business. I know I'm not young no more, so I can't really rap about what I used to rap about when I was young and think it's going to do something. So it's time to step out my element, you know, listen to some Marilyn Manson, you know, stuff like that, you know. So that's why.
Thank you. And then I just want to go ahead and keep moving forward with, you know, this is our last question that I'm going to ask the panelists, but just as far as like transformation, right? What would you say was your transformation moment, and how you were able to use, you know, art?
I'm gonna say that I've had a crazy life, like for real, and I'm gonna say my transformation moment was last year. I'm gonna say one of my transformation moments. We're gonna put tears to this. So one of my transformation moments was last year when I found out that I had a 22-year-old son I never knew existed. And so like I went from one child to two quicker than you could say Ancestry.com, but it wasn't Ancestry.com. It was a divine story that I'll tell you one day. Book me, and I'll tell you about that story. But that was a moment where it was just a crazy story of life that shows the beauty of life, the beauty of being here, the beauty of nature, and I just thoroughly enjoyed that, and it's been a beautiful transition process of being able to find my voice, which y'all are hearing right now. Thank you.
All right, so that will go ahead and conclude my questions that I have for you all. And again, this was really lovely. I do want to see if we have any questions from anyone in the conference app that folks would like to share.
Definitely, we have a few. The first question we had is from Nicole Baldwin. What motivated you to share your story with others?
Well, for me, I think it's imperative that I put my story out there so other people can learn from it and so they don't follow the same mistakes that I made. Like I said, I was a young, wild 16-year-old, and if I can do anything to keep kids from ending up with life in prison, I'm going to do it. Talk to them. I'm a barber, so when I get them in the chair, I talk to them, try to tell them the pitfalls of what they're doing in their life if they headed down that road. So that's basically it for me.
I kind of feel like I'm like a public figure in Chicago, like on the music scene, you know. So I feel like a lot of people look up to me, like young, my age, it don't matter. So I feel like this is something that people, where I come from, could look at it and be more lenient to doing stuff like this. You know, they don't be trying to step out their element. So I be trying to show people you can just step out your element. You ain't got to, you know. So.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
1 second.
I'm sorry.
I believe it expounded on inspiration. But go ahead.
Yeah, what motivated you to share your story with others?
Just my thought was that my story might be able to reach a few people. His story might be able to reach, you know, a few people. His story might be able to reach a few people. So with all of us, we might be able to get the room and try to help, you know, elevate, develop, grow, all of the above. So that's kind of.
And then we have one more, if that's okay, Brittany. This is from Lori Howard. How do you stay motivated to keep doing things for the better and not fall into the past habits that got you in trouble? What supports do you have now and or agencies that have helped you along the way?
Well, I got a lot of people that's dependent on me. When I was locked up, I had guys with 70, 80, 90 natural life that I left behind. Some of them never coming home. I hope some of them get an opportunity. So I have them. Some of my mentors, Dr. Burrow, she passed, my mother, my family. I have mentors out here now that assist me and help me with things that I'm still learning now. Technology, I'm still lost on in a lot of facets. And yeah, so I carry all the people around with me. I made a promise to God that I wouldn't be back out there in the streets gang banging and shooting and all that stuff no more. So and with this second chance in life, I'm just going to, you know, live it to the fullest, be positive, productive, and shine a light and show that there's some people in there that if you give them an opportunity, they're going to come out here and do what I'm doing or even better. So, yeah.
Maintaining a positive attitude, for me, it's really just more my consistent daily activities to maintain my like meditation, you know, exercising, reading. So I focus on spiritual, physical, and mental on a daily basis. And so with that, that helps me deal with a lot of the trauma, past reflections, hardships of the day, all of the above. And that's where I'm able to get into that rhythm. And so it's kind of, oh, here's just something to deal with today. That's it.
I just feel my supporters just come from who I'm doing it for. Like, what I wake up and think about who I'm doing it for. That's like who my supporters is. And then what Anthony said, I really made a promise to God when I was in jail. You feel me? I told him that if he give me this one final chance, I'm really just do right. You feel me? So I'm in debt, basically.
Yeah, bro.
Well, thank you so much.
And thank you so much, Kelly. All right, well, I just want to thank you all so very much for taking time out to not only share your creative expressions with us, again, not easy to do, right? And so I just want to say thank you. Well, not easy for all of us, not easy for me, I can tell you that much. But yeah, I just want to say thank you to you all. You know, health justice is at the forefront, you know, of the space here. And so thanks for expounding on how reentry has played a role in your journey and has and the impact that it's had on your mental as well. Thank you. You can head off either way. All right, so we are almost there. Thank you all so much. Another round of applause for our creative artist expression panelists. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move into the award segment of the conference, which is really exciting for me. It's where we are able to really shed light on the work that's happening out here because folks are really working to improve health justice and reentry. And so we want to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and bring Mr. Nicholas Creighton to the stage, and he will introduce our 2 Community Reentry Champion Award recipients for the 2025 Illinois Reentry Conference. Here you are. Oh, head off.
First, before I cover that, something that the sister pointed out earlier, I just wanted to cover. For those of you that are not justice impacted, I need for you to understand we are in alignment with you because you understand suffering. That is the common thread between all of us. We just experienced it in an artificial environment. You experienced it in a natural environment. So please understand, when you're fighting for us and you speak for us, the disconnect is not that big. So just remember that, sister. I just want you to understand that. As a recipient of the 2024 Community Reentry Champion Award, I am honored to pass this year's baton on forward. The Community Reentry Champion Award recognizes those who make significant contributions to reentry, focusing on innovative programs, advocacy, research, and HIV prevention. We'll be honoring 2 fearless leaders in the reentry space who work to improve the health and lives of people who experience reentry. Today, we'll be honoring 2 dynamic leaders who are known for going above and beyond to support people who are justice impacted returning into communities. First, before we welcome the first recipient of the Community Reentry Champion Award, Cindy Casey, I'd like to provide some background information on Cindy. I see you, Cindy. Cindy Casey is a certified recovery support specialist and plays a pivotal role in the Illinois Department of Human Services pilot program called Successful Reentry. This program focuses on supporting justice-involved individuals as they transition back into the community, ensuring they have the resources and guidance needed for a successful reintegration. With a strong commitment to advocacy and support, Cindy brings a wealth of experience and compassion to her work. As a person in recovery, Cindy uses her personal experience as a guiding light to many others. Cindy is dedicated to making a positive impact on the challenges of reentry and build a foundation for a brighter future. Cindy, will you come up and join me, please? Let's congratulate Cindy again. And next, it is my honor to share our Community Reentry Champion Award recipient, Marquita Sim. Marquita could not be here today to accept the award, but we certainly wanted to be sure to recognize Marquita in this space. So Marquita Sims is the mother of 2 children, and one of whom she lost to Chicago's violence. Upon her release after 13 years of incarceration, Marquita endured domestic violence, yet she channeled these painful experiences into a powerful commitment to advocacy. For nearly a decade, she has been a passionate advocate for reentry and homelessness, understanding the deep connection between the two. Her mission is to not only help others regain stability, but also empower them to create lasting legacies for themselves and their families. Marquita's dedication to her community and her ongoing efforts to uplift and empower justice-impacted individuals make her a beacon of hope and a powerful catalyst for change. We want to thank again Cindy and Marquita for their tireless work to improve the lives of people who are justice impacted. At this time, I would like to introduce the next presenter, Sharon Curry, to the stage to introduce and award the 2025 Health Justice Legacy Award.
Got it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, let me get in position. Okay. I was asked to read this first before I read my presentation. First, before we welcome the first recipient of the Community Reentry Champion Award, Sydney Casey, I'd like to provide, I think you gave me the wrong page. Sydney Casey.
Sorry about that. This is the Health Justice Legacy Award.
Okay.
So sorry.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so the Health Justice Legacy Award, and I want to note to the receiver, this is the first award of its kind by this agency. So I'm very proud of that. Recognizes individuals or organizations with lived experience in the health justice and reentry space who have made transformative contributions to the well-being of justice-impacted individuals. This award honors leaders who have demonstrated longevity in the field through innovative programs, advocacy, research, direct service, and HIV prevention. It emphasizes the importance of lived experience in empowering individuals returning to their communities after their incarceration and highlights the interconnectedness of health and justice. The award celebrates those committed to improving health outcomes, particularly in HIV prevention, while fostering dignity, healing, and did you have a second page? Okay. And opportunities.
Opportunities for individuals navigating reentry.
Work with us. Opportunity for individuals navigating reentry challenges. Thank you. Okay, so now. This is what I wanted to say. Okay, and it is my sincere honor to introduce to some and to present to others a humble, kind, and honorable man that completed 10 years of higher education back in the 90s and became a board-certified infectious disease and internal medicine doctor during the height of the HIV/AIDS epidemic. And after graduation in 2004 until the present, for 21 years, with his Hippocratic physician's oath as his work ethic, he went to jail. Yep, Cook County Jail, Surmac, voluntarily committed and dedicated to making a medical difference in the lives of incarcerated individuals. In his 21 years, which is 5,460 days, 43,688 hours based on a 5-day work week, working in every unit in the compound and every security level. Dr. Chad Sedgwick has kept his oath and given the highest quality of non-judgmental professional medical treatment to his patients. He has followed his patients back to the streets with continued medical services at the Cook County Center, Cook County's Stroger Hospital, and other medical affiliates. In addition, over these 21 years, he has been at the forefront of numerous major research and medical projects, local and nationwide, that has helped the medical outcomes, of many. What he is most noted for within the populations that he serves is his ability to uplift his patients and to give them honesty, respect, and hope to know that what can be done will be done. His real down-to-earth approach has helped many patients to embrace their medical condition and push forward to make healthy lifestyle choices and changes. It is for this reason that they trust him in ways they have never trusted anyone before. Today, I give Dr. Chad Sedgwick a standing ovation for all his hard work, and I present to you the first Health Justice Legacy Award. Can we get a standing ovation?
even better. The work that you have so graciously acknowledged today is something that every single person in this room is doing. So I'm standing here sort of humbly before you, and I'm grateful for this honor, but ultimately every single one of you is doing the exact same thing. I wish there was, 100 of these to pass out. Doing this for 21 years has been hard. It's not, I didn't think this was the way my, career path was destined, but it sort of chose me. And I just want to use this as an opportunity to encourage and acknowledge you to continue to do what you're doing. It's incredibly important and incredibly rewarding work. It's inspiring to see a room filled with like-minded individuals. And, as I'm in the, I hate to say this, but like the final third or so of my career, I continue to see I call them next gen coming through, the students, the residents, the trainees, the case managers, the social workers, the wraparound service, everybody in these organizations continually step up and inspire me and keep me going. So you guys are the fuel of the future, and I just want to thank you all for the work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. Come this way.
Hey y'all, I'm back. So I just want to say that congratulations to the awardees. I just want to say that we are, it's winding down. It's almost time to say goodbye. Before we get there, I would like for you guys, and I just want to say this while I have the opportunity. It was such an honor to serve on the planning committee with Brittany, with my other planning committee members. Some of them not here, some of them are. It was an honor. I think that this will be greater and greater next year. It is exactly where I wanted to be today. But please join me in giving our 2025 Community Reentry and Champions and our 2025 oh no, that's not it, Brittany. I'm sorry. During this time, we will announce our HOVA contest winners. The winner for the icebreaker activity is Cindy Casey. Cindy, oh, okay, Cindy, you racking up. Okay. And we got our little PHIMC thermal mugs. You put your coffee, your hot chocolate and thing. Okay, Cindy. There you go. She told me she walks slow. Okay. The winner for the HOVA photo contest is Jennifer Wren. Jennifer, are you here? Jennifer? Oh, she left. Okay, so the Academy will accept it on her behalf. Yes, and the leaderboard, the highest score on the leaderboard in the HOVA app for this event goes to Kara Phillip. The way she hit the table. You win! Okay. And with that, I'm going to turn you back over to, I love Brittany. She's been so flexible. To Brittany. Here you go.
Thank you so very much. All right. So thank you all for being here today. We're going to go ahead and close out. So we want to do some special thank yous to the Illinois Reentry Conference VIPs. So as we close out today, I and PHIMC would like to give another huge thank you to our amazing conference presenters and artists and all of our conference participants. We would also like to give a huge thank you to the PHIMC's champion sponsor, Quattro, as well as the Reentry Conference sponsors, HIV Care Connect and the Illinois Public Health Association. I would also like to recognize PHIMC's funders, Illinois Department of Public Health, ViV Healthcare, and the AIDS Foundation of Chicago. Additionally, I would like to acknowledge all external conference planning members. Right now, we have a couple in the space, Mr. Creighton, Lexus, Vance, Dr. Littrice, there are so many more. Thank you so much. This is a collaborative effort. Could not have been done without collaboration, so thank you. If you could please allow me to also thank you for your dedication, you all, and just hard work in supporting the planning of this event. Again, it was a collaborative effort. And then finally, we want to give a special thank you to Kara Collective, who graciously opened up their space for PHIMC to host our pre-conference mixer that took place yesterday. Thank you. It is imperative to PHIMC that we do not leave this space as strangers. It is imperative that we stay connected. So I want to go ahead and do our call of action, okay, to all of the conference participants who are here with us in person and who are here with us virtually. We want to just say thank you. And as we conclude the conference, we want to just encourage you all to walk away with a renewed commitment to health justice and reentry. Our theme, Health, Justice, and Healing, Navigating Reentry with Dignity, Support, and Commitment to Health Justice, has highlighted the critical role that everyone plays in creating pathways for folks who are justice impacted. The conversations, the knowledge, the connections shared today, just the beginning. Please stay connected in the powerful work that you all do. Please continue the dialogue. Please advocate for holistic health resources necessary for successful reentry. Let's carry forward the lessons learned today and the strategies we discussed, ensuring dignity and support at the heart of the reentry journey. Together, we can transform systems, uplift individuals, and work towards a future where health justice becomes a real reality. Thank you again for your participation in today's conference. Thanks for being with us all day today. And let's continue the vital work side by side. Thank you. All right. And just lastly, as we wrap things up, I would like to remind you all that conference attendees, this is really important, especially for folks who need CEs, continuing units of education, and just want to stay connected with us afterwards, 30 seconds. As we wrap things up, PHIMC would like to remind you all, conference attendees, to please complete the evaluation for today's sessions, for today's conference. You'll need to complete the overall conference evaluation, and you will need to complete the morning workshop evaluation and the afternoon workshop evaluation. It really is imperative because it really helps support us in the work that we do. So please, we just want to create space for that. We really encourage you all to complete the applications, not just one, all three. Overall conference, morning and afternoon. Okay, we also would like to hear how you would want to incorporate feedback as we continue to evolve. So it's another reason why completing the evaluation is imperative. If you register for CEs, you must complete the evaluation for each breakout session, morning and afternoon, and the full day of the conference. And there's some other requirements that were listed in your registration as well. You want to follow all of those requirements in order to successfully ensure that you receive a CE. And remember, for CE folks, you must complete the evaluation 72 hours past today's event. So I just encourage you all to take a moment today and just complete the evaluation. It's not too long if you can. Okay, we also want to hear from you and encourage each other to upload your photos, your quotes, and your comments to the conference app. The app will remain open for 30 days post today's conference. So just join us in spreading the word also around today's amazing event to your networks. Don't stop the hashtag Illinois Reentry. Keep it going. Keep sharing pictures. Share pictures with us if you all would like. And for those of you all who would like to share your thoughts in a deeper way, we'll be conducting short interviews in the common area space, or could be possibly in this space depending. So feel free to stick around and be connected to our communications team. To end our day on behalf of the Public Health Institute of Metropolitan Chicago, this has truly been an amazing day. And we would like to thank our in-person attendees as well as our virtual audience. Thank you so much for your participation today. We look forward to bringing you all together again next year, and thank you for your time this year. Please have a wonderful and safe day. Thank you.